Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, regardless of where you are. It's always a good time to learn, to talk about the gospel, and to open our minds to new things. Today, we're going to be discussing chapter 20 of the book Our Daily Bread, which is titled The March. Before we begin, I would like to thank Kardec Radio for the opportunity to bring conversations just like this one and other conversations. Kardec Radio is in different platforms, and Kardec Radio also has their own app where you can get access to podcasts like presentations. Before we begin, let's close our eyes in prayer and thank the Lord for all the opportunities for learning that life offers us, especially those very practical and sometimes unpleasant experiences that might be painful to us, but that might teach us so many great things. Thank you for the planet Earth where we reincarnate to get better and wiser. So basically, we're going to be covering chapter 20, which is titled The March, and it's based on Luke chapter 13, verse 33. In 8 days, I must keep going today and tomorrow and the next day. It's the words by Jesus. And interestingly, that Jesus, there is an additional verse right after that that indicates that no prophet might perish outside of Jerusalem. So there's a very interesting context here. Again, Jesus is indicating that he's going to continue walking and working until the end of his mission, which happened in Jerusalem after his enter into Jerusalem. Emmanuel explains to us here that it's always important to move ahead and steadily in search of a definitive spiritual edification. It is indispensable to march, overcoming obstacles and shadows, transforming all the pain and anguish into ascending steps. So, first of all, Emmanuel reminds us here the need to always move forward. We are spirits in a progression scale. Our spiritual development that forms both moral and intellectual progress, it is constant. So regardless of our situations, it's always important for us to keep moving ahead, to keep growing, learning new things. None of us on earth has the privilege of staying stagnant. Of course, we might choose to do so. However, the universe is going to always push us forward. So it is in our best interest to go ahead and keep ourselves in motion. And here Emmanuel continues, charting his goal. Jesus referred to the direction of the march to Jerusalem, where the final glorification through martyrdom awaited him. But we can apply these teachings to our personal incessant experiences on the route to the Jerusalem of our own redeeming testimonials. So we do know, of course, we all know that life is not easy. We all know that we go through troubles, but we gotta keep those, we gotta have a positive attitude even towards adversity. In Jesus's case, and again, Jesus is our model and our guide. So we see here Jesus indicating that regardless of what happens to me at some point, I will keep walking. I'm going to keep preaching. I'm going to be keeping helping others. So we see here also that can be applied to us. Of course, we know that one day we're going to disincarnate. That's the only fate we have in life. The only predestined situation is disincarnation. That's going to happen to all of us. So we know we're going to reach that point. We also know that there are going to be so many obstacles and so many difficulties in life, but we gotta keep moving and following Jesus' example. We gotta keep doing the best that we can under different circumstances. And some circumstances are easy. We go through some moments that are easy and pleasant. And we go through moments that are very, very tough and cumbersome. And sometimes we have to drag ourselves through the day going through some situations. But regardless of what lays on our path, it's important for us to move forward And conversely, it's important for us to disregard, or I shouldn't say disregard, I should say not give too much weight, or unnecessary weight, I should say, to our experiences that happened in the past, because whatever was in the past, we cannot do anything about it anymore. We can only work now in our present and look forward to better days in the future. Emmanuel continues here, indicating that notwithstanding, it is imperative to clarify the character of the journey in the acquisition of eternal treasures. So he's indicating here again that we gotta have a better perspective in life of our journey, and to actually focus on what's truly important. And that's how he continues here his explanation. Many believe that to move forward is to take a stand of evidence in the world, acquiring transitory positions of greatness and bringing the wealthiest people into their personal circle. However, it is not so. So again, during our reincarnatory process, a lot of times we forget about what we're really here for, what's our true purpose in life, which is to grow, which is to evolve, which is to become a better version of ourselves. And instead, we focus on the material possessions. We focus on societal hierarchy and status. So there's nothing wrong with pursuing those. However, as we pursue those, or should I say, even as we pursue those, we should always keep in mind that this is not our main focus. This is not our main goal. Our main goal is to evolve. Whatever titles, whatever possessions, material possessions we have here on earth, all of those we're going to have to leave behind. Only our wisdom, acquired wisdom, only our love, and only the impact of the good deeds, and of course the not so good deeds that we perform are going we're going to take with us, or are going to be valued to us in the future. It is in this, and Manuel continues here, it is in this regard, those so-called routine gentlemen perhaps have greater possibilities in their favor. The dominant personality of ephemeral situations has the road filled with dangers, with complex responsibilities and atrocious threats. The sensation of grandeur augments the feeling of the downfall. So Jesus mentioned that blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. It's just that in the current situation, being the earth a world of trials and atonements, in its present condition, it allows the predominance of evil. So with that, we see that quote unquote, individuals that are mean, that are overly aggressive, that with disregard to others, and who are so full of themselves, we see those individuals succeed from a material and terrestrial standpoint. And again, but that's also part, as Emmanuel indicates here, that is also part of the obstacles, believe it or not. So having the possibility of acquiring material riches by hurting others, having the possibility of climbing up the social ladder by putting others down, it is not an advantage. It is not an accomplishment. On the contrary, that is also one of the obstacles that we should avoid, is that, I should say, a pitfall that we should avoid in our journey here on earth. It is imperative to walk constantly, but this journey compels the eternal spirit toward the improvement of his inner conquests. So we see here again that we got to keep moving despite the temptations of earth. And of course, there's nothing wrong with us to pursue a better life for ourselves here on earth. Nothing wrong with that. But again, that's not the focus of our journey. If this is only the focus we're putting in our material experience here, then we are definitely we're not actually progressing in the path in the proper way. We gotta have this higher view about the universe, this higher view about our experience on earth, so that again we can put our energy on those accomplishments that are going to be significant to us in the spiritual world. Emmanuel continues here. Very often, many persons who presume to be in the higher perks of their trip toward the divine wisdom find themselves practically paralyzed in the contemplation of will of the wisp fires. Let no one be fooled by these false rest stops. So again, interesting, just because we are studying, just because we're learning, just because we're spending time having different conversations and absorb the teachings from the gospel, absorb the spirit, the teachings from the higher spirits, that is great, but that's not sufficient. That is not just an opportunity for us to sit down and plan what we're going to do. Of course, we're going to be thinking how that applies to us, and we're going to have to internalize those teachings. But the most important thing is to put those teachings into practice, and especially in our daily dealings with our brothers and sisters. So it's no use for us to read the gospel and to study the gospel if we are not respectful to our loved ones, if we do not treat those outside of our home, especially those that are our subordinates by earthly standards on earth as well. Treat those with respect. So what's the point? And also, especially, there's also the whole idea of how of applying this in our decisions as well. So again, if I doesn't matter if I uh, study Jesus's teachings, if whenever I take decisions, I am more concerned again about the fulfillment of my earthly desires as opposed to actually the fulfillment of my spiritual desires, of my spiritual mission here on earth. It's important to work to know, to illuminate ourselves, and to attend to Jesus Christ daily. In order to fix it, this lesson within us, we have been born on earth, sharing its struggles, making use of the body, and on earth we shall be reborn once again. So again, Emmanuel emphasizes again the need to work, to know, of course, to work, to put into practice, to illuminate to learn, and especially to illuminate ourselves. So it makes no sense for us again to study if we do not apply to ourselves. And we're gonna, this is one of experiences, one of innumerable experiences we're gonna have on Earth and in other planets. So, and we're always gonna be coming back, but we want to make sure that each time we come back, we learn more and more. And instead of being tied up to our physical material ambitions, it is important for us to open up our minds and focus on the spiritual horizons and on the so much more that we can acquire from a spiritual eternal standpoint, because those values are truly eternal. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation today. Make sure you click that little like button and the subscribe bell button so that you're notified of any upcoming videos and conversations. Again, Kardec Radio provides all of us with content like this in different platforms. So make sure that we subscribe to stay current on Kardec Radio's offerings. At that moment, let's close our eyes and connect ourselves to our spiritual benefactors. And first of all, thank the knowledge, the minute knowledge that we have, because it helps us make better decisions on our way, on our pathway. And also thank for all the obstacles that we encounter in life, because those are not to hold us back. On the contrary, their purpose is to push us forward, to become wiser and better. May we feel inspired by God and God's many emissaries in our decisions, and may we obtain strength in the moments of struggle, and especially in our moments of decision, again, having the inspiration to make the best decisions and have the strength to do what is right. May God's love and peace be with all of us. So be it.